Good afternoon, everyone. I see you coming into the room. So excited to see you. We are going to be spending some time on a very interesting topic today, but let's just get started. We're going to see if we were trying to work some technical difficulties in the background. But one of the things I learned about being a hero, right, is that we don't let obstacles stop us. So,
Definitely.
amen. I'm Patreniaspeaks on Naha, and I'm the host of the Growth Activation series that we call the Lunch Hour, Rush Hour,
And
Growth.
growth how?
Yes, yes. And the whole essence behind this thing is notice that even when you know things, you don't necessarily do the thing. Many of us know all the guidelines for eating healthy, but yet we don't. What this hour is all about is helping you to link your actions with your knowledge, to take the principles and apply them in your life and find a way to be that hero in your life. So that's what this is all about. So we've got Susan. I see faces that I recognize. I'm so glad to see. We have a guest today. Yes. So I just want to introduce you to Tinu Phillips. We met each other probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago, definitely.
Yes, Advocates for Africa.
Yes.
And I thought that was just a wonderful platform because I got to see what she was made of. But her quick bio would be that she is just a superwoman. And she's going to tell you all about her heroes.
I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining. I can see some names here. I can see Ola Diamond and Asho Game, right? Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tinu Phillips Udufie. I'm actually the head of sales at one of the fastest growing financial institutions in the sub-Saharan African market. I'm a multidisciplinary speaker, a personal development trainer, and a John Maxwell leadership and growth coach. Well, most people actually refer to me as a growth evangelist. The reason being that I'm so open to growth, and everything I see and the kind of life I live is growth inclined. And there is a reason behind that, because I have a past that was totally averse to growth. Not because it was intentional, but I found myself stuck in that corner. So people currently call me growth evangelist because I know that getting to your potential, you need to grow. Growth is the only pathway to your potential. And I'm actually the brain behind the Growth Activation Mastermind, which focuses on helping people bet the giants within. So that is that about me for the purpose of this particular engagement. Thank you very much, Patrina, for having me. I'm really grateful for this. Thank you.
All right. So I love the way she's done this wonderful introduction of herself. One of the things that we want to make happen in our growth activation today is sharing principles, sharing takeaways, sharing our stories, because so much of our power sits in our stories. You know, we hear about Wonder Woman is an Amazon, right? And we hear about Black Panther, who has a general and has Panther himself. I think it's important to really hear Tinu just unpack her story around her hero journey.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Patrinia, once again. So before I even delve into my own personal story, I would like to explain what we mean by the law of the mirror itself. So some people wonder what exactly is the law of the mirror. We know the mirror, right? But what exactly is the law of the mirror? So the law of the mirror principle says you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. So in a situation whereby you can't even see value in yourself, how can you then now invest in yourself? So the law of the mirror would like you to take a look at the mirror. So it might be an imaginary mirror, but right now I would like you to just use your phone or use a mirror if you have it close to you. Just look at yourself in the mirror or your phone camera. What do you see? What can you see? So is this someone with a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? I used to have a fixed mindset. So when I got married to my husband, although prior to my marriage, I was very, very entrepreneurial when it comes to my approach to things. When I was serving the country, I had business that I had to employ somebody to manage while I was on camp. In Nigeria here, we have what we call NYSC. So while I was serving the country, even as a graduate as at that time, without a job, I was still doing something productive for myself. And I could remember that I'd sold wares before. I had done a good number of things for myself before, but when I got married, I actually didn't know that I was a victim of the same societal stereotype that I used to condemn. So subconsciously, I never knew that I was stuck in that rut. So I felt that subconsciously, that marriage was the height of a woman's achievement. So naturally, I just dropped everything, aspirations zero, every other thing zero. And then unfortunately for me, I got married to a man who is so interested in your growth as a woman. In fact, to him, growth is sexy. And that is why whenever I'm talking to women right now, I tell them growth is sexy.
Growth is sexy. I love that.
Sexy. It is not about whether you're fat, thin, tall, or short. Growth is sexy. So you have to understand that for you to look attractive, you have to be open to growth from time to time. And when we are talking about growth, we are talking about you adding value to yourself and also adding value to your environment. So back to my story, I was pretty complacent. My husband will always set goals for himself at the beginning of the year. He will set goals on the kind of promotion he's looking forward to in his organization, how he would work towards getting it. He would set goals on the kind of certification he needed to acquire. And then we would use our budget to take care of those set goals. And I was just there year in, year out. And one day he gave me a nudge to say, Tinu, do you know that you haven't grown since we got married? And I was pretty angry, furious, that why would you say that to me? Do you know what it is for a woman to give birth to a child, to carry a pregnancy for a period of 9 months? Do you know what it is? And here you are telling me that I haven't grown. And he told me, he said, see, that aspect of you is divine. God has blessed you naturally. 16-year-old girl could also do that. Fine, we appreciate it. It is painful, but those are natural. You actually have something else within you that you can add to the world if you look inward. It is not about being a mother or being a wife. It was painful. It was a painful conversation, but I can tell you that conversation actually changed my life. I was pleased at my husband, but I had to look at myself in the mirror to tell myself the truth. What are those things I'm doing wrong? Where am I stuck? What exactly can I do to improve myself? What value do I think I have, or potential do I think I have inside of me that can add value to the world? Because really, we were not created into this world to only consume. You know, most times, if what you do is you eat, you drink water, and you occupy space, you are only consuming. We were created for more than that. We're actually created to replenish the earth. And in replenishing the earth, you cannot give what you don't have. You must go within, search within, and bring out the value God has positioned inside of you. And I wouldn't lie to you, my growth journey has been amazing. People tell me, Tinu, you are this, you are that, and I tell them this growth journey actually started some time ago when I decided to start taking action towards growth. And now you're looking at the results, everybody is appreciating it, and I feel good that I had that valid conversation with my husband.
Please use the Zoom link and join us.
Okay, so that is just that about my story. Like I said, when I introduced myself, I was once stuck, right? I was once stuck. I thought that growth was automatic. And that is a lie. It only happens in childhood. When a child is being given birth to in the world, the child automatically crawls, automatically works, and at some point grows into adulthood. But for adulthood, growth is actually beyond that. It has to be intentional. If not intentional, you don't get it. And that is that. That is that. So, Patrina, you can continue, please.
I love it when Tinu tells her story, and especially when she talks about getting unstuck herself, and that her work helps, how did you say, helping people getting out of their stuck. So very, very, very powerful. I appreciate that. I think when I think about hero of the story and really the law of the mirror, I would say hero of the story, we think of, Wonder Woman, we think of others on stage. And I think when we look in the mirror, we often just see us. We often don't even see the best of us. We see our warts, we see our acne, we see what we don't have. And I would say that my journey to recognizing the hero in me started a little earlier than Tinu's. I was that teenager who struggled. I struggled with self-esteem. I struggled with the not enoughness. Was I pretty enough? Was I skinny enough? Was I too dark? Was I too geeky? And I even had the benefit of having a mother who told me there was promise and purpose in my life, and I still struggled. I was that chubby one, right? I was the book smart one with very little common sense, and social skills and EQ was almost zero. And probably for me, what tipped it was I lost my mother. So when I was 13, my mother died suddenly. So here I was, this kid who already had, self-esteem issues, and losing the mother who had told me about my promise. And for me, that was like this huge dip, right? All of a sudden you're wondering, who am I? Where am I? The thing I thought I could depend on most of my life was gone. And for me, I made a lot of bad choices. I began trying to be cool, hanging with the cool people, thought with the cool crowd. And so many of those people that I was hanging with then are now incarcerated or ex-cons, that's how deep it went for me. There came a point though, and I didn't even know to call it awareness. I didn't even know to call it a mirror. What I knew was my father reminded me that achievement is a way to climb yourself out of that hole. And what is required for achievement? For me, it meant saying, okay, it was clear what I didn't have. But help me to see what I do have. And what was that? Yes, I was geeky and all of those things, but well, I had music. I could play my horn and just play my horn. I was that, creative, not fitting in necessarily, but in academics, there was a safe space. My mother had put me in where I could be creative and be comfortable in myself. And what else? In my big feet, I found shoes that fit and found, my own way to begin to amplify my voice. And through the achievement, I always joke, my father loved, the currency of his affection was achievement. So I kept achieving. And in that achievement, I found what was good and great about me. I found what was now could be attractive about me. How could I make myself magnetic, When you think about, certain people who attract folks in their lives, right? And you wonder what are some of their attributes? It's because they rise above uncertainty. Have you noticed sometimes when you have the popular girl who's not that attractive and you wonder what is it? It's because they dug beneath the surface and found what the goodness was. So for me, when I began to rise, I began to make being geeky, academic, and musical popular. And other people began to say, so much so that in one of my early careers, they said, where did you get your confidence from? And what I said inside of me is, why didn't you get yours? So what's my point? Beneath each of us and inside all of us is a hero. And most of us run into, you know, if you look at any of the superheroes, right? Most of them, when they first got that bite, like Spider-Man, they saw it as a negative. They saw it as something to avoid, something that they didn't want in their life, right? But then once you take that thing that may have taken you down, you then figure out where's the strength out of this? Where's the positive out of this? And that's how you begin to write your hero story. So when we talked, Tinu and I were discussing about how do we show up and how do we make a difference? One of the key things that we talked about as a strategy for in the hero in your own story is to practice the one-word strategy. And she mirrored some things back to me, and I said, whoa, let me deal with this one, right? So why don't you tell us, so this is your first nugget. Number one is practice the one-word strategy. And Tinu, can you tell us what that's all about?
Sorry, I'm actually muted. Okay, so for the one-word strategy, some people might think it is a myth that doesn't work, but it works a lot. The one-word strategy says that you have to look inward or even listen to your environment. What exactly is that one word that is a value that you add or you have the capacity to add to the world? So for me, at some point, while I was trying to figure out what my own one word was, and I wanted to link it to a value, I started thinking deep. What exactly do people say to me? I couldn't remember one thing people say to me, but at some point I realized that people actually gravitate towards me for solution. At different points in time, when people are stuck, when there are issues, even in my place of work, when people are having relationship problems between a boss and also a mid-level manager or something, they come to me for advice. They come to me for solution. And at that point, it was just like a bulb light, as in, came to me all of a sudden, and I said, oh yeah, that word for me is a solution. And that is why on my profile, you always see it there. Because at every point in time, I remind myself that that is what I stand for. I was supposed to get, I'll tell you of this story. I was supposed to move from a particular organization to another recently. That was last year. And it was a leadership position. And I reminded myself when the fear almost came in to say, Tinu, you know, at this point, you really can't hide. Should the organization go down, you bear it. I told myself, I said, I'm a solution. Naturally, I look for where there are problems, because where there are problems, there are opportunities. So I was already working in an organization where it is like a made brand, but the problems are not really there. Even when you're solving, you're not seen. And I decided to go to an emerging brand to bring it up, solve the problems, because I call myself a solution. And to be candid, during COVID-19, that everyone was running helter-skelter, thinking about how to make the company survive. I had to go back into my shell to think, because there is a need for you to always reflect. I had to go into my shell to think, what exactly can we do differently? We came up with some strategies, and everybody put their hands together. Honestly, we actually surpassed our target by 130%, which we started in January.
Wow. 130%.
130%.
In COVID. Whoa.
During COVID. And most of the acquisition actually started during COVID. So while some people are saying there's a casting down, we are saying there's a lifting up. So even in crisis, there are opportunities. We never talk about it. But
even in crisis, there are opportunities. I love that. Exactly. I love that.
So that is that about the name. And I told Patrenia when she was discussing with me about the one word strategy, I said, and that is why you always call yourself Mojo. Mojo, when we ask you what is Mojo, you said it is more joy. And that actually sinking, because at every point in time, Patrenia is happy. She brings about these lights around you, like this kind of vibe, happiness. And you're wondering that, Patrenia, could it be that you actually don't have down moments? That you don't have down moments? Because
we fall down, but we get up.
We get up.
Yes, we get up.
So practice the one word strategy. It works, please.
Yes. And what I like, you know, that whole one word strategy, Where there is power is that when you can identify the value you bring and the values that you stand for, and you're walking in harmony with that, then becomes that one word strategy. That one word strategy can pull you out of the dumps and say, wait a minute, I'm not a person that fails. I am solution. So the solution in every situation. That means that you're now focused and finding it because you know who you are. You take off the cape and it's got a big S on it, and it stands for what? Solutions. So
thank you.
One word strategy to remind you what you stand for. Help to bring you back when you're on the ropes and you feeling like your ribs are breaking and the world is fighting you. What is it that they said in Black Panther? She said, remember who you are.
Oh, that's true.
I am mojo. I am more joy from all 360 directions. So where is joy in the situation I'm currently in? Remind yourself, focus. In focusing, you can really bring, I like that, Yemisi. She's saying her one word is fun. I create fun around everything, regardless of how bad the situation is. And you know, when you use that one word strategy and you live that one word strategy, you become magnetic. You'll wonder, why are people attracted? They're attracted because everyone wants to be associated with what? Success. Everybody wants to be associated with the opposite of a pity party. They want to be lifted, going somewhere, focused on something. So use that one word strategy to remind you and always take you back to who you are. Open your chest, and that's the one word on there as your hero. One of the other things we talked about that I just love, and maybe what I'll do is just kind of dive into that. And then I know Tino's got a story for everything. So I love her storytelling ability. But we talked about this concept of guarding your self-talk. What I mean by that is, oftentimes, have you ever been sitting in that interview, or you see that job come across LinkedIn and it's like, it's got your name on it, but all you can see are the 2 or 3 things that you don't have. And you're like, self-talk, no, don't do it. I'm not good enough. Oh, they won't pick me. Oh, I'm not. In guarding your self-talk, we see it as a force field. So it's a force field you need to wrap around your head, right?
Sure.
And force field will only let in ideas, concepts, thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions that you follow the 3 E's. And the 3 E's are, it must be edifying.
Sure.
Not tear me down. So E, edifying. The second one is, it must empower. It must give me more. It must take me higher. It must make me feel as if I can do more. So the second E is empower. And the third E is, it must enable me. It must allow me to be able to do something. It must make me capable to move forward. So what are some of those things that that would be falling into that force field when you're guarding your self-talk? It would be people who are providing solutions in spaces where you have questions, right? It would be people who have moved before you, have gone through the dip, but have also come out of the dip, who success leaves clues. So those people who have gone through it and are able to come back and mentor, that will be something that you let through. You know, I was doing a teaching on Madam C.J. Walker. And if you've seen that movie, in most of her dips, you'll see her sitting reading a book. When she comes out of it, she's reading Dale Carnegie, or she's reading about Andrew Carnegie. She's reading something about business. That's letting positive knowledge come into her force field so she can take that knowledge, link it with her problem, and come up, voila, with solution. So that's the power. When you build that force field around your mind and guard your self-talk, only let in what? What's the first one? Can you tell me what the first E is?
Edifying.
That's edifying.
Build me up. Say, build me up. You
build me up.
Build me up. That's it. Edifying. The second one is what?
Empower.
Empower.
I love it. And the third one is what?
Enable.
Enable. So guard your self-talk. Affirmations can give you to guard your self-talk because you're introducing into your subconscious a new thought.
Sure.
Affirmations are done what? In the mirror. Remember, we talk about the mirror. Get in front of that mirror and talk to yourself. Talk yourself off that ledge. Persuade yourself of your greatness. So your affirmation is, I am Mojo. I am the solution that the world is calling for. And mantras are just repeated phrases that can help you. You know, I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place in you of love. Just memorize something, be it a Bible scripture, be it a Bible verse. Just talk to yourself to lift yourself up and guard your self-talk. Tell me about it, Tinu. Has there been an experience where, you know, guarding your self-talk was something that just, you know, brought people back and saved them and saved you?
Okay, I would definitely go simple on that because you've actually done justice to that particular strategy. Yes, I'll go very simple on that. So there is a particular Bible verse that I usually use whenever I feel stuck. So that's Genesis 1 verse 28. I usually remind myself that the Bible says that, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. So whenever I'm stuck, I remind myself of this, that God actually said to me. And again, you know, in the Bible, he also said that he would set me up above every form of limitations. And that through me, leaders, through me, kings will be birthed, kings will be raised, and that through me, nations will be blessed. So all these things are what I remind myself at every point in time. I may be spiritual. So these are the things I remind myself at every point in time. You know, we all face problems, but I have this mindset that problems are actually there for me to gain some benefit. So when the problem comes, I know there is an opportunity somewhere around it. I only look for the opportunity. And I guide myself with all those affirmations because I know the work. And most times people hear whenever I tell myself, no, Tinu, you've got this. Tinu, you can do this at different points in time. And those things really work because it boosts that hormone. Okay, so that is how affirmations work. They pour you to positivity. They pour you to remind yourself that you have done this before. God has taken you through this kind of phase before, and you can do it again. So they're actually real. Tinu, I've got this. Tinu, I can do this. Tinu, you've got this.
You can do this.
You can do this.
Say, I am doing it.
I am doing it. Yes, sure.
I am doing it. You know, I love, you know, Michelle Obama talks about that in Becoming, that as you are doing the thing, even as you dip, you are becoming the thing that can do the thing and do even more. So know that we don't have to start off in perfection. The whole art is perfecting. So as you move, you will be perfecting.
Sure.
Yes.
And you gain more clarity as you take the first step, you take the second step. And I tell people, I did it. There was a diagram I put together at some point in time. A guy was trying to cross to the other side, cross to the other side of the mountain. And the guy said, okay, this guy saw impossibility. And immediately the guy took the first step. He landed on the I. When he took the second step, he landed on the M, and then he used the rest to get to the other side. So what I'm just trying to say is that even when it seems impossible, you want to launch an idea, you want to bet a business, you want to start speaking to people, you want to inspire people, you want to start your coaching career, whatever it is, all it takes is you taking the first action, and that is you taking the first step. As you move further, there will be clarity. If you sit where you are, it will remain impossible until you start taking those steps, and it will become possible. And that is the word I have for everyone here right now.